Hello, nerds and nerdettes. Welcome back to the channel where once again we have a new review for you guys on not a super recently released book, but a somewhat recent, I guess if that's a thing, which is none other than Sentient by Jeff Lemire and Gabriel Walta. I'm hoping it's Gabriel Walta. Not too sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Super awesome book. One that definitely was under the radar for me. Happy I checked it out. But before we get into any details, if you're looking for this book or any other book that I've reviewed, head on over to the channel sponsor, organicpricebooks.com. Use the discount code STAYNERDY for $2 off your order and also to help support the channel, as well as an amazing company, which is, of course, Organic Price Books. But without further ado, let's jump into the actual review. So, we do have a deluxe edition hardcover of Sentient by Jeff Lemire, the legendary Jeff Lemire, and Gabriel Walta. It does have a cover price of $50 and a page count of 248 pages. This is an absolutely beautiful book and beautiful story, but we'll talk a little bit more about that once we get into the book. And here we are, Sentient, the deluxe edition, I believe. Jeff Lemire, Gabriel Walta on art. Definitely a extremely exciting book for me. Beautiful cover. I'm not sure if you can kind of see the glossiness. I hope that's picking up on camera. Super interesting way that they kind of went about designing this. Lettering on the spine, also very glossy if you can't tell. And then obviously on the back we do have some gloss as well. Very beautiful book. Was very excited to get it in. Not a whole lot to show off on the book. There's no wraparound cover or anything, so we'll pretty much just jump right into the book and kind of talk about the story and the art. Okay, so opening right up, we do have some extremely bright blue end pages, and another set of end pages, and then right into the title page. The legendary Jeff Lemire, obviously on writing duties, so high expectations going into this, and they definitely were met. Gabriel Walta, not super familiar with the name, but art-wise, we will get into those details. Then we pick up with the first chapter, pretty much with a dead body floating in space. Don't want to get too deep into that. Very interesting twist. Pretty much the synopsis of it is there is a ship traveling through space to get to a new planet, a new Earth, if you will, because Earth is dying. They need to find a new home. And this ship has a population booster of a population on the ship itself. So what that means is there are women and kids and families all on board, mainly being sent to not only help establish this new planet, but also to boost the population with families. So for whatever reason, which I won't get into, the adults on the ship do end up dying very tragically at that. And pretty much due to their death, there is a AI on board, and that AI is completely unchained and released to do as it pleases, which essentially almost makes it, well, I guess it does make it sentient, borderline human in a way, despite it being a artificial intelligence. So that's really the synopsis of the story: is children and a unchained AI that is free to think for itself, stuck on a ship with unable to communicate for help and really attempting to survive. There are some very heartfelt and impactful moments that you do go through with the children in particular. You do have Lil and Isaac, which are the two children that are mainly focused on throughout the story, pertaining to really being the main characters of the story, or the ones that you would, I guess, insert yourself into. The AI is probably one of the most prominent characters as well, which that is Val, or Valerie. Definitely a very loaded and in-depth character very, very interesting to kind of think about, pertaining to her character and how I don't know the proper way to describe that, goes about this new role that a AI has now been given, essentially due to the acts and events that took place on the ship. Um, Very interesting story. Art is beautiful, very fitting for the story. It is, if you can't tell, very gritty yet cartoonish in a way. But when it really comes to the facial expressions, as you can see here, it feels extremely human and realistic. A lot of the facial expressions in this book perfectly encapsulate the emotion that is taking place in the scene. And that is probably one of the best ways I can describe the scenes that do take place in this book, which is 100% emotional. You see children go through a lot of serious events, which I do warn those of you that do have children or are a little squeamish to those type of things. These are children going through these traumatic events, so that might be a little bit of a touchy subject for some of us reading, but absolutely beautiful book, beautiful story. Again, another story that probably will be on one of my top reads going into the next year. Definitely left a huge impact on me, thoroughly impressed me, and for such a short story, because this is really the brunt of the story here. It really carried a lot of weight and very much impressed me. So definitely a great story. Now, the only somewhat catch is the rest of this book is extras. So for my fans that love extras, this is also another book for you. Very in depth when it comes to extras. I mean, you're getting straight pencils, designs, character designs, comic book cover designs, whatever you need, it's in here. And it's yet another extras. I'm not an extras guy, but it's a group of extras that I definitely enjoyed my experience kind of looking over and reading. One aspect I do want to touch on is this. So it does not have a full dust jacket. I don't know what the proper term of this would be. It is like a half dust jacket, I guess. It does slide off, so it does remove. It takes me a hot minute because I'm not the brightest. But be very careful with this. Putting it into my shelves, handling it, I've almost ripped it multiple times. So be very, very careful with this part of the book. Also, another thing, which I don't know how I didn't mention it, it does have glossy sprayed pages as well. So the pages are blue as well. So that's also a beautiful touch of the book. But beautiful designed book. This is the only aspect that I would be careful with. Pages are beautiful. Quality of the pages, quality of the story, everything about it is beautiful. But we can head back to the table for some closing thoughts. Hello and welcome back. So this is a very beautiful book aesthetically. I'm just talking about the outside of the book, the glossy sprayed pages, the reflective cover, everything about it is absolutely beautiful. They knocked it out of the park when it comes to the look of the book. That rhymed. But the story itself, of course, does perform amazingly when reading because it is written by Jeff Lemire, who is regarded by a lot of people as one of the best, if not the best, comic book writer in the game currently. So I kind of had fairly high expectations jumping into it initially anyway, and I was thoroughly impressed. As far as the art goes by Gabriel Walta, I think the art definitely performed very well, coincided with the writing by Jeff Lemire. I felt the aesthetic or the look of the art was very fitting for the story. All of the technology, aspects of the ship, suits, spacesuits, whatever it may be, definitely had a futuristic yet grounded look to it as well. So those were designed beautifully as well. And it's almost, the art style is almost cartoony until it comes to the face and some facial expressions. A lot of the aspects of the art do come off as comic booky or cartoony, but the emotions are very big, bright, and very realistic when it comes to that aspect of the art. The story itself is very interesting because we are living in a world where AI is becoming much more of a thing of present day. We're seeing it more and more kind of pop up and become, I guess, regular in our society. So it is very interesting the timing that I read this book where AI is becoming so prevalent, as well as reading this a couple days after Mother's Day, at the point that I read this at least. A couple days after Mother's Day, and it having so much to do with the aspect of being a parent, of being a mother. The character of Val, who is the AI, is definitely the most human character in the story, oddly enough. Very relatable, especially when it comes to her relationships with Lil and Isaac. You can very much identify with Lil and Isaac, and you can see a lot of aspects of probably your own mother in the characteristics of Val, which is very interesting, very well written, and I think it comes across beautifully. I think there's a beautiful dialogue about what it means to be human, what it means to be a parent, in this book, intertwined in this book, which is very thought-provoking and interesting to kind of go over while you're reading. It is a fairly short story. I expected it to be a little bit longer, if I'm being completely honest, but it does pack a punch. It has a lot of extras. Honestly, before I blinked, I was done with the story, and the rest of the pages were extras, but still super happy with my reading experience. Overall, I do give it a 8.7 out of 10. It definitely packs a wall up. It has so much emotion, so much humanity. It's beautifully written, and the art is also not something to shake a stick at, and I highly recommend you check it out. That wraps up our review for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I hope I piqued your interest to check out Sentient, because honestly, it's something that was under the radar for me personally, but I am thoroughly pleased now that I finally checked it out. A lot of the hype is definitely real, and what should I have expected when Jeff Lemire's on the book? But comment down below, let me know if it's something you picked up, if you checked it out. I would love to talk about this book with you guys and hear your thoughts. But if you are not a part of the Illuminati, then hit that subscribe button to join the community today. Also, if you could do me a favor and hit that thumbs up icon, that way we can be placed in that algorithm even more so and eventually reach our goal of 1K subscribers. And also, if you did enjoy today's video, or maybe some of my previous videos, then feel free to hit that bell icon. That way you can get notified anytime I put out content. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. As always, I truly, truly appreciate you guys tuning in. And of course, as always, end of every video, stay nerdy.